They're autodidacts. They studied from answers online. They didn't actually have teachers. And they studied online, got answers. And what I realized was these students who I'm teaching on this platform, privately, they're all consulting me for serious issues. And I'm seeing that Islamic law seems to be causing more problems for them in their life
Subhanallah.
than solving. So all their problems in life deal with Islamic law. And I'm just like, don't worry about it. But they're like, no, they're obsessing. That's when I got to know about OCD and I learned about this. That's why over the last 10 years I've been so passionate about this, because so many Tullab al-Ilm, their deen is just cut because of the shaitan's influence on them. And I do believe from a spiritual level, it is an attack, right? There's the psychology of it, which is a whole other issue, right? A whole other way of looking at it. But the Islamic modality is like, yeah, you see someone becoming religious and they're not doing the same things that they used to do. So shaitan can't get them to fornicate, can't get them to steal, drink alcohol. So how would I get this person away from religion? Well, I'm going to come into religion itself. And I'm going to be the one that filters the answers that they get from the mufti or from the answers, the books. And I will try to insinuate that no matter how much they get exact in fiqh, no matter how much diqqah they have, I'm just going to ask them for more diqqah, more diqqah, until the point where they outdo themselves. And so you want to make a perfect wudu, mashallah, isbagh al-wudu is beautiful. But if you want to say, wait, and you know the hadith of the lum'a, right? Like, yeah, there is an idea of making a complete wudu, but it's not meant to say, wait, did I do this part, or did I do that spot, or did I not, or will I do it again? And so that's this idea, the whisper, when it comes into your mind, that, no, you didn't do it properly. And when your way of looking at Islam becomes the validity-invalidity paradigm, it's what I call the invalidity paradigm. That is the wrong basis to base your Islam on.
What if someone has waswas? What's the solution?
So my solution, because as an OCD counselor, I would say, and a fiqh teacher, I would say they have to completely unplug from the sources of information that they have. So they have to completely stop reading questions and answers. No fatwas online, no listening to videos.
Stop studying fiqh.
Stop altogether. And this is a hard advice. When I heard it from one of my teachers, like as a recommendation for someone, I was like, because I said, like, I have a student who's like this, what should I do? To tell him to stop studying completely. Why? Because you need to be, in a sense, quarantined from that. Because any information that you get, your psychological state, your fitrah has been bent, actually. And any information that you get, no matter how many fatwas I'm going to give you, how many rukhsas, you're going to bend it, and get into more OCD. You need to actually stop reading online, stop listening to the TikTok answers online, stop reading on your own, and you need to unplug and get back to the basics of the religion. And first understand that if you think Allah is has more qudra than everything else, then you're from the beginning, your aqidah is off. And if you think that najasa has any ta'thir in itself, has any ability to harm you, or that if you even think that validity and acceptance are intrinsically connected with each other, then you need to actually cut that off and stop this idea of pseudo-learning. It's not learning, it's pseudo-learning. And you need to go back to the basics. If it's too bad, you need to get therapy or like some type of help with someone who knows what waswasa is and is balanced as a scholar with all the different subjects. Go into seerah, go into akhlaq and tazkiyah, go into these things. And then just have a lot, your madhab should be the madhab of tawakkul and rahmah, not the madhab of ahkam and diqqah. That will, yeah.
One reason I believe this is totally from shaitan is because waswasa is almost always in ibadat. A person doesn't get waswasa in their job or in their homework or in that respect. Those worldly things.
It could, but it's increasing now, to be honest with you. It starts in wudu and niyyah and these things, but you're seeing a lot of income waswasa.
Income.
Especially, in haram rizq waswasa, because of the prevalence of riba in our societies, unfortunately. Yeah. It's riba is a big thing. Then you have divorce.
But that's also a religious matter.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that. But I'm saying it's finding itself outside of the ibadats. And you have divorce waswasa. That's a big one as well that's coming up. Because, these fatwas out there about hurmatul musahara and all these types of things are putting ideas in people's minds So anytime you have access to fatwa
Yeah.
that are above your pay grade, and then you have that type of mindset, you're susceptible of falling into it.
And I think you're right that there is definitely OCD outside of religion, like especially turning off the gas oven
Yeah,
is a big one because that's so dangerous, right? Or
right.
locking doors at night, things like that. But
Exactly.
most of the time in the masajid, what we're seeing is wudu related, tahara
100%.
related. And I think that the goal of shaitan at this point is to make you stop praying altogether because you don't believe you have wudu.
110%. That's exactly what happens. By going down that route, you think you're getting better and better and perfect, but Allah is teaching that person in one sense that it's not your amal that's going to reach Allah. Your perfection is not
Mm,
going to reach Allah. And so that's why the shaitan can get you, because he can only get you to try to be more and more perfect, which is a shaitanic thing to begin with.
mm,
In your mind, it should be actually humbling ourselves and saying,
subhan-
I am imperfect. Now what can I do? Oh Allah, I need your mercy, right? So I completely agree with you that I've seen that the end of it will always result in a person leaving prayer because a psychiatrist has to tell them, look, you cannot do religion anymore.
can't
And
do
I've
it.
seen this as well. People into like, they just leave fasting, they leave praying, and
Subhanallah.
shaitan wins at the end of the day. But there is a silver lining. That is, I think that the people of OCD who have OCD have actually a gift that is
Mm.
actually a positive, an even more positive outcome at the end. So if you can see through it.
The gift is to be a perfectionist.
No, I don't think that is. I think if
Mm.
you can get through OCD,
Oh, I see. I see.
if you can get through it and you can beat the shaitan and understand all of a sudden the idea of the kaun and ta'thir, like the idea that
Mm.
the world has any effect on you, can go away. So you actually have a chance to actually reach Allah purely, knowing Him without any of these other attachments, which is actually a gift perhaps that a person with OCD, if they get through it, they can realize. This is why some of the big scholars had OCD in the past and they got through it and their level with Allah increased.
Is OCD connected to lack of socialization?
Yeah, it's a lot of staying inside your head. And so one of the results of it, one of the ways to help it is to just be interacting with people, because socialization, you'll see imperfection. You'll see
Yeah.
people making wudu, whatever, however way, people touching food and stuff like that. So yeah, isolation is one of the big things
Biggest
that
causes.
causes OCD, and being on the computer. That's what's caused isolation.
Let's go to a question here. A question here from where was your source of knowledge on how to handle OCD? Do you find ulama in the subcontinent or in the Arab world, teaching this, curing people from this?
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm going to be very honest now. I don't see very many scholars today teaching this type of knowledge, and I did not find many people even understood the problem.
Subhanallah.
Yeah. I mean, I had one or two teachers that kind of understood how to deal with it, but most of it was my own experience. Then the teachings of some of my fiqh teachers who kind of understood the problem, and then going into the texts of the past. Imam Birgavi understood waswasa. Ibn Qudama understood waswasa and wrote an entire
Subhanallah.
text on it. Ibn al-Qayyim understood, rahimahullah, they understood waswasa. So the ulama of the past, when you look at how they were dealing with it, you realize, oh, they knew it. They understood it. They knew how to
Yeah.
prescribe things for it. So a lot of it was going to the hadith itself, and going into the older texts of our tradition, and then applying it from the teachings of what our teachers taught us today. But I'll be honest with you, there is a real lack of information.
Mm.
And even among scholars today, many of them don't realize they're causing people waswasa if they
Subhanallah.
have not understood this. The Prophet ﷺ obviously understood it, and he prevented it through many different hadiths indicate that. So we need to study those again and revive that tradition.
This question says, is it ever reach a point where medication is necessary?
So I don't go through the clinical perspective. I'm from the spiritual perspective, and alhamdulillah, people find benefit in approaching it spiritually. There are some people, for example, because OCD is tied to anxiety, that they will need a psychotherapist or psychiatrist to handle some of the chemical imbalances that they have. And so for some people, you can only take medication to calm your mind enough to start doing the work on the spiritual level. And that's when the psychological issue becomes out of hand for any scholar to be able to work on. But that's what I leave towards my psychotherapy colleagues.
So you work with somebody until you realize that, no, this person needs some other help, and then you
Yeah, I
shift them
mean,
to a psychiatrist.
yes, or I work in tandem. That's why I work with a psychotherapist group. So Canadian Muslim Counseling asked me to come on board because they saw the work I was doing in this,
Yeah.
and we were like, hey, and they said, let's team up. And alhamdulillah, it's been a great success by Allah's blessing. Yeah, the ilmi aspect of it from the Western point of view and the Eastern point of view can combine. And so I do consultations, for people who are psychotherapy patients, outside. If I can't help them, I say, look, you need to, sometimes it could be a bigger problem. And so I don't even try to get involved where it's a psychological issue that needs a medication.